Hi, my name is Consuela Kayla, and I'm here to bring you great quality content on traveling. And so, the first thing I want to talk about is something I hear a lot of people ask me, and maybe have some suggestions, or maybe they're surprised about traveling. And what that topic is solo travel. So I like to break down exactly how do you travel alone. You know, people are very intimidated when it comes to traveling alone. Um, they're like, especially if they're traveling internationally, they've never been to this area. Maybe you don't know the language. How do you survive? What if you get lost? Certain situations can happen, and especially being a young woman, let alone guy too as well. In traveling alone, it can be very scary and very intimidating, especially for an extended long period of time. So I would just like to go into detail about that, and like how you will go about with that. A little bit of background on myself. My name is Consuela, and I've been traveling a lot. I really started traveling, I would say, 2012. My first experience traveling, well, I would say real experience. I traveled abroad. I studied the European policy studies at Georgia State, and on this trip, we went to Amsterdam. We studied in France. We was in Italy, and then we also was in Germany. So this was actually my first time traveling abroad alone, and it was with a group. I traveled with a group, but I mean alone, like not with family or friends. But I still had a group because I was studying abroad and we were traveling as a group. Um, but I fell in love with traveling with that. Fast forward today, 2019 and August, I've been to just almost 30 countries, so it's 29, 30 countries at this moment. Most of my experience, I would say, North America, South America, and Europe. That's more so like my specialty. I haven't really branched too much out into like the Middle East and Asia, and I have never traveled to Africa. However, that's going to change, and I do have some trips in the books. So going back to the topic, traveling solo. So for this example, let's say for instance that you would like to travel to um, Colombia. Let's just use Colombia for this example. You want to travel to Colombia alone. So the first thing I would do, I would do my research. Do research on this company, on this country, sorry, and figure out, is this a place you really want to go to? You want to maybe check like some government websites. You want to make sure that this country is safe. Is it safe for a person to be traveling alone? I mean, have you heard other people traveling there? What are their stories? What are their experience? Just so you can get a vibe and a feel like, will you enjoy this? Because the whole point of traveling is just to have a real great positive experience, and we don't really go travel to have to collect negative experience, and not intentionally. Um, so with that being said, I would say number one is to research. Once you like read about the research about the country and whatnot, I like to look at the customs, the traditions. All these things are important, especially once you get into like more of the Middle Eastern countries. What do you need to wear? I also like to look at big do's and don'ts, or like maybe I'll look online like American mistakes in Colombia, or 10 things Americans do wrong in Colombia, or just hypothetically just want to read these things. Like, I know one country, if you do this, that means like F you, and you maybe you're like, oh, they ask you like, oh, how's the food, and you're like, and they think like, are you really saying fuck off? Like, that can just really go off, just blow up, right? You just want to make sure, maybe I know something like this in another country was something bad, and just so look at all these customs. You don't want to be locked up abroad. For instance, Singapore, you're not allowed to have gum or chew gum or spit gum on the sidewalk. Not Singapore, sorry. Singapore, you can't spit gum on the sidewalk because they will fine. In Malaysia, gum is illegal. Okay, so it's just certain things that you need to learn, and certain things you need to know before you go out there and make those mistakes, and then, all things go south. So, with that being said, make sure you research the culture, make sure you research traditions, and all that too as well. Another thing that I like to look up is the food. Like, okay, this isn't like mandatory, but this is just something I do because, if I'm going to another country, I need to know, especially if I want to eat like the local food and whatnot. Like, what is the food like? You don't want to get there and be starving, but you don't want to eat certain things and, maybe not feeling too well with that, or maybe you're allergic to certain things, some ingredients, maybe you're allergic to nuts or something like that. And just so you know, I feel like the more prepared that you are before going to the country, the easier it is. Because especially once you're abroad there, you're very limited on your internet, I don't know your phone plan. Maybe you aren't able to research everything on the internet. Maybe you're not near the Wi-Fi. Maybe the Wi-Fi isn't good. Maybe the Wi-Fi is expensive. Maybe there isn't any Wi-Fi. Maybe you're in Cuba. Who knows? But the more research you know, the more you can prepare yourself to have a pleasant experience once you are abroad. Some other things that I would consider uh, are activities. What is the place known for? Get your landmarks. So kind of like get your itinerary together. So usually I would say accommodations, but I'm going to go ahead and skip the next after I do the research and I say like, okay, this is good. The food looks great. I like the culture here. This seems very suitable. This seems like, a vacation I would like to take. So after that, that approval within myself, I like to look at the itinerary. I start building that. So I think, okay, what will I do in the daytime? What will I do in the evening time? What I'm going to do at night? And, I like to get like a Google map and just basically put pins. Or there's also apps like Pinbox too as well. And you can just, label on the map, write it down, and kind of get an idea of, okay, build your itinerary and say like, okay, I'm going to go to this park, I'm going to go to this museum, I'm going to go to this statue, or I'm going to go to this beach. So it's just really good to have all those landmarks and all those things. Like write it all on a sheet of paper, look on TripAdvisor, look at some Facebook groups. Just while you're doing your research, jot all this stuff, write all this stuff down, write everything down. Like I think writing it all down is the best. That way you can refer to it later. Okay, so once you put the landmarks on your sheet of paper, like I said, put the pin with the exact location on the Google map. And a reason why I say that is because you're going to notice like, okay, I wanted to go to this statue and it's over here on this map and this location is over here. And then you might see something that's like way over here, maybe like 2 hours out, And then once you have all your pins, you have 30 pins. When I say pins, I mean like location pins. So maybe you have a pin here that says like, Christ the Redemptor, Sugarloaf Mountain, okay, the Botanical Gardens, and I'm referring to Rio, Brazil now. But this is very helpful because, when you look at your accommodations, which is next, it would be nice to stay close to those landmarks, close to those things, because what you don't want is, maybe you book in the city center, everything is near the beach, everything's in the forest, everything's in the jungle. And remember, you have to leave there, from your place where you stay in your accommodations, and you have to return back. So things get really pricey, you know what I mean? For instance, I went to Brazil. I was there for 2 months, and I did this exact technique, and everything in the city center. So I booked my accommodations in the city center, and then all my landmarks, all the museums I want to see was within that city center. And then next, I wanted to go to Ipanema, by the beach. And so all the landmarks and all the bars and all the ideas I wanted to see, or landmarks or restaurants, were all near Ipanema. And then got Copacabana, you got that area, and then it just made things so much smoother, and I really didn't have to worry too much about transportation and my Uber and all that good stuff. And then transportation gets kind of complicated, depends on which country you're in. So maybe you're just working with taxi, maybe they might not have Uber, whatever it may be. Maybe you're renting a car, who knows? And also parking too as well. Maybe it's not a great place to park your car, such as Amsterdam. I remember me and my friends, we did a road trip to Amsterdam, and It was like so inconvenient to have a car in Amsterdam because if you don't know, it's like 83% of transportation is biking, 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 biking. So everyone rides a bike. So, and actually, the bike and the walk lanes are wider than the streets. So, if you have a car, it's like a tiny, tiny little area, and then mind you, they have canals on every street. So it's like a street, a canal, street, a canal, street, a canal. It's very interesting. Look at Amsterdam on the map. However, it would be a freaking nightmare to drive a car through there. So with that trip, we drove outside of Amsterdam, the city center, 30 minutes. Literally parked the car there for a few days, and we just took the public transportation, rented some bikes, walked, whatever. But we still have to pay for the car, and it's not convenient. So that just goes to say, going back to what I was saying, have your pins on the map, know where you want to go ahead of time. Then, based on that, the tip number 3 is go ahead and book your accommodation. Okay, so go ahead and book your accommodation according to where the most clustered of your points of interest. So if most of your things are, over his area, then book somewhere close to there. One little pointer, I'm going to go off a little tangent here, is safety and with accommodation. You're in an unfamiliar country, city, region, so make sure that goes back to your first part of researching. Make sure the areas you stay in are safe. Know which areas are safe. Know which areas are not safe. Know which ones are very, 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 very dangerous. The streets, talk to people who've been there. Talk to locals. Talk to people in the hotel. The people who work in the hotel. Maybe people at the breakfast time when you're getting breakfast. Just overload yourself with your resources and people because you're not the only person who's traveled to this location. So, get this helpful free information online from other people, and from me too. You can ask too as well, and I can reach out. But it's very helpful if you do your research ahead of time, because what you don't want is to show up there and you get robbed, or it's a bad neighborhood and you don't need to be outside after 6:30, or that's not a way to travel. So know which areas are safe. Yes, know which areas are safe, and don't stay in those areas. Don't stay in those areas. I don't care how cheap it is. Do not stay in those areas. It's not worth it. Especially the Americans. With American people, please be extra, 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 Rita, extra, extra, extra. Did I say extra? Extra, extra careful, because people think we are stupid, gullible, naive, rich, I don't know, what you call that, bubble heads, or blondes, all those negative words. They just think that we're just stupid, and I also would add another tip when it comes to travel alone. Don't talk loud, okay? And don't be on your phone. Don't be on your phone. And I mean talking on your phone. Don't talk on your phone in public places. Just don't. Don't be out loud. Don't do anything that people will look at you weird and you look out of place and they be like, okay, yeah, from her accent, she's speaking English. Puts you in a vulnerable situation, and people start plotting, and like, I know there's some places, some people might see this and like, oh, it's not like that, it's safe, and we don't do that, we love Americans. Yeah, true. But for the majority of the places, just keep a low profile. Enjoy the scene, keep a low profile. If you have a phone call, take it in the bathroom or something, away from people. But don't have people in your conversation. Maybe they might know where you stay on the phone. Like, just be low key, be private, and just keep it safe. Keep it safe. Do not draw attention. Don't sing. Don't play music out loud, and I would just even say be careful putting headphones on. Even that's even in America. You need to be aware of your surroundings. Don't have headphones in your ear at nighttime. That's not smart. Be alert, and that's just everyday common sense. Um, but it goes to that. So book your accommodations. As far as with the solo trips, I would say it's nice to get to know people. Um, and a really quick way to do that is to book a hostel. Okay. Now I know some people seen this movie called Hostel. I've never seen it, but I heard it's some scary movie. Not trying to scare anyone, but my tip is to find a hostel. How do you book a hostel? So the best reference I can get, you can download an app on your phone. It's called Hostel World. Hostel World. HostelWorld. It has an orange background and a white H on the front. I believe that's how the icon is in the App Store. Anyways, if you don't want to get the app, you can also look at it online. So you can go on Hostel World, and I'll do another video on this, and it'll be how to book a hostel. And you just go on Hostel World, and you can get like a mixed room, which means mixed gender, men and women. You can do just a women room, and those are your two options. So usually with the hostels, there you can have 2 people in a room, 4 people. It's usually multiples of 2. So yeah, it could be like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 22, 24. I think the most I've seen as far as beds in a room was 24. Me personally, I haven't stayed in a room with more than 10 beds. Usually I like to keep it under 6. Me personally. Yeah. So you go there, book your hostel, and with the hostel is cool. You have your individual bed. You'll give you like a locker, a little space to put your things in, keep it protected. And with that being said, bring a lock. Bring a lock. Let me see if I have a lock to show you. When you travel, always bring a combination lock. Always bring this. You never know when you will need to protect your stuff. You might need this for your suitcase. You might want to lock your purse. I don't know. You might need to lock, something, a cabinet, or, the locks in the hostel. And, you're in a shared room, and most of the time there aren't any cameras in the room because, privacy is kind of weird because it is someone's bedroom. So there aren't any cameras in the bedroom. So bring your lock. Don't be a victim. Don't get your shit stolen. And take care and caution. So yeah. What I like to do is to book a hostel. And I meet people. You meet people during the breakfast time. You meet people in the nighttime. Maybe they're checking in. And just be nice. Smile, be sociable. Hey, where are you from? Where are you traveling from? Especially people that's checking in. You see them checking in. They're showing them their room. Hi, how are you? Chill in the common areas. Don't be one of those people in the hostel chilling in your room the whole time. It's really not that glamorous. Like, who wants to just lay in the bed at the bottom bunk or the top bunk on the bunk bed all day? Like, no, like go to the living room, go in the kitchen area, go in like the TV area, by the reception desk. Go hang out there, go hang out there. And plus the Wi-Fi is better anyways. But go hang out over there and talk to people. Talk to people. Do not be weird. Don't be shy. Like, no one knows you. No one is judging you. And if they are, so what? It's a whole other country. You're not even gonna just be you and do you. Go out there and talk to people. Hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from blah, blah, blah. And also with this being said, with the American or Canadian, be kind of conscious of, I don't know. It's just common sense and kind of have your radar up, about the American thing. I just think American people really need to be cautious of who they're telling, their information. Because that's like kind of like some private information. Like, you're American, you know, people be plotting, man. People be plotting. They be like, oh, she American. She got an iPhone. She got a MacBook. Okay. And then plus, if you're in an area and you don't speak the language, you know, they can be having a whole plot and a whole plan in front of you in a different language. You will never know, you know. Not trying to scare you, but, you know, just be conscious of that. Yeah. Talk to people, ask them, oh, where are you going? Where are some good places to go? Where are some places you shouldn't go? Certain things like that. You know, going back to the research. Always research every single day through locals, through the people in the hotel, the hostel. And, you know, a lot of these people in the hostel, they know, they've traveled. They're like backpackers. Like, they've been all over. And, like, you know, they talked to other people too and did their research. So utilize these folks. So yeah, do your research. You know, always have safety first. Okay. Get your landmarks together. Know where you need to go. Figure out what the best way is as far as the public transportation or your transportation in general. Okay. Book your accommodations around your landmarks. Okay. And that's really the main thing. As far as other solo tips, when it comes to the weekend, be very cautious. Like, I understand you want to have a good time, but when I tell you, do not get sloppy drunk on trip. Do not do it. Do not get drunk. Do not get drunk. It's okay to get a little buzz, but don't get drunk, man. This is so dumb because you, like I already told you before, like, you know, people know where you're from, you know, they see what you got, you're drunk, you know, you just gotta be cautious, especially if they know you're by yourself, you know, and there's no harm in lying and saying, yeah, I got a friend, you know, I have a friend here. Lie. Lie. Because sometimes people just don't need to know your business and they don't need to know that you're alone, okay? I don't let people know that I'm alone, you know? And it's, you know, you feel that vibe. Like, some people, they're alone, you know, skinny little girl, and, you know, you guys maybe have like a connection. You can kind of like, you know, maybe be together on the trip and, you know, watch each other back and go out with each other, you know. But be smart. I guess this video is kind of geared towards the women because I'm a woman, but males too. Be smart. So going back to that, on the weekends, don't get sloppy drunk. You know, it's terrible, you know. Man, come on now. Like, you probably spend so much time and effort trying to figure out how to get to the club or the bar or whatever, and then you're drunk. You're trying to figure out how to get back to your place. You know, it's a mess. Especially with the language barrier there, you know. Maybe in the taxi, maybe they might take you some strange area. They taking you for a joyride. They went past the hostel or the hotel 6 times. You don't know you're drunk. You sleep. You passed out. Like, just don't do it. Like, be aware. This is my number one. And another thing is, being drunk on trips and having hangovers is like a big no-no. Like, I like drinking. Drinking is cool. That's cool with me, you know. But we know it's not cool when you are traveling and you literally have maybe like 3 or 4 days to travel, and like, let's say you go there on Thursday, so you go out, you know, Friday night, and like, you go out Friday night, you're freaking drunk, you go back home at like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and then what time do you wake up? You don't wake up at 10, you wake up maybe like at 12. And it's like, dude, all the museums and everything's probably closed like 3, 4, 5. You still gotta eat breakfast, still gotta get ready and stuff. And mind you, especially if you're in a hostel, maybe you have to wait to take a shower or something like that. Maybe someone's, you know, taking a long time to curl their hair, whatever it may be. So you just gotta be conscious about that. And like, you really lose valuable time. Like, you know, and that another tip I will say now on that tangent is utilize all your time, you know what I mean? Refresh, make sure you're drinking water, make sure you're eating, you know, hydrating yourself. If you're drinking, make sure you're drinking your coconut water and regular water, watermelon, whatever. Stay hydrated. Because having hangovers the next day is, it's just not the move, man. Like, feeling sick on trip is like the worst thing. Because, like, think about it. Like, you spent all your time trying to save, took off for work, or whatever it may be. You made all these sacrifices to come on this trip, and you're sick, you know? You enjoy their breakfast, enjoy the lunch, enjoy the dinner, the supper, the snacks. Enjoy those things. Don't be in bed. Don't be on Instagram on your phone all day long. You know, save that time. Every minute and every hour in another country is very precious, and it's a time to meet people and have experience. So, that is my tip for solo. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I should cover? If there's anything else that I did not cover in this video, please put a comment below, send me a message, and I will clarify, or I'll make a separate video about it. I wish you all the best, and tell me, which trip are you planning to go on? Is this your first solo trip? Is it a girlfriend trip? Maybe it's a fellow trip, you know, or, you know, with your guys, or with the church, or whatever it may be. Where's your next trip, and where are you going? And which tip did you find helpful? Thank you for watching, and remember to thumbs up and subscribe to my video if you want to hear more content just like this related to traveling.